My name is Professor Ramona Dunlap, and I am the chairperson of the Fashion Business Management Department here at FIT, SUNY Korea. I grew up in a small to mid-sized town called Greensboro, North Carolina in the United States. And I've also lived in Indianapolis, Indiana, Chicago, Illinois. Brooklyn, New York is what I call my home, but right now Incheon is my home away from home. So as a young girl, I happened to be the youngest grandchild. My mother had 5 sisters, and I enjoy watching them get dressed for events. So I always had fashion in my life. And when I go to stores with my mother, we go shopping, and I'd find myself in the racks of clothes, just looking at clothes, feeling and touching them. And finally, when I became of age at 15 years old, I got a worker's permit. I started working in retail at a company called Hip Pocket. And at Hip Pocket, I became an official Levi's fitter. So I knew all about the different fits of Levi's jeans. And that really nourished and started my love for the fashion industry. But at that point, I really didn't know the size and scale of this business. Currently, the global fashion industry is estimated at about $1.7 trillion. So at that point, I knew I wanted to be a businesswoman. I knew I liked fashion. I wasn't really sure how to tie those pieces together. And as a teacher, the way that's influenced my style in the classroom, I really want to expose students to the vast array of careers and opportunities that are available in fashion. So in order to get to Calvin Klein and Donna Karan, I have to take you back to the beginning. I actually started in the industry working for Sara Lee. Most people, when they hear Sara Lee, they think of Sara Lee's cakes and pies and bread. But there was a point in time when Sara Lee actually had in their portfolio Coach, Champion, Wonder Bra. And I worked for the intimate apparel division of Sara Lee. And I started in a rotational trainee program with the end goal of becoming an executive in wholesale sales. So in this amazing program, I had the opportunity to work for 6 to 8 weeks at a time in field merchandising, in planning, in marketing, also on the finance side of the business. And that journey actually prepared me for my career at Calvin Klein. So for example, in the intimate apparel division, when I started, they were launching the brand Barely There. And while I was doing a sales rotation, I had the opportunity to travel with the senior sales executives to launch the Barely There line. And we talked to them about the commercial and the advertising campaign and what the budget and the spend was for that. In addition to that, when I did my marketing rotation, I was actually in charge of a shop and shop for Wonder Bra. And this is when Wonder Bra was at its peak. That shop and shop was at Marshall Field's on State Street. And Marshall Field's now is Macy's, but at the time it was a huge deal in the retail landscape. And as a matter of fact, Marshall Field's is currently a national landmark, even though it's Macy's now. So really having those experiences to see behind the scenes, understand the business of fashion, as I mentioned, what the consumers are looking for. So when I worked in field merchandising, I was actually in stores from Miami to New York, even out in California, working with customers, hearing what they had to say about our merchandise and our clothing. And that actually built my love, not only for the fashion business, but the intrigue of consumers and how to captivate and motivate them to buy more. So as it relates to the opportunities for our students and those who want to study fashion, the opportunities are vast, whether students are looking at a career in sales, merchandising, product development. It is really expansive, and coming to a school, particularly Fashion Institute of Technology, students are able to capitalize on those opportunities because our professors have all worked in this industry. So they're getting firsthand knowledge to be able to go out and work in this global fashion industry. In terms of challenges, the fashion industry is huge, and it's also rapidly changing. So there's continual change and evolution in fashion, and it is a challenge for students to really stay abreast of what's happening, what those changes are, so that they can actually get into the industry and manage some of those challenges that might come up on the job, so that they can become leaders in the industry. So I encourage students to constantly read. There are resources that we have available to our students attending school at Fashion Institute of Technology, like subscription to Business of Fashion and some of the most credible publications, also trend research services that our students are able to get for free with their tuition. Coming to Fashion Institute of Technology and studying here in the Fashion Business Management program is a huge advantage for our students, because they're learning from professors who've been in the industry and they are focused on the fashion industry. So by staying abreast of what's going on, having access to those resources, this actually puts our students at a much higher advantage and allows them to be far more competitive than other students who are interviewing for some of the same jobs that they might be interviewing for. Once again, another great question. So as a marketer, we are trained to listen to our customer. And right now, the students are my customer. And I've been meeting with students. I've asked them to share with me what's going well for you here, what could be better. And in hearing what they had to say, I'm actually in the process of organizing a series of events for students to connect with each other in an interactive way outside of the classroom. This will allow students to really nurture their relationships here, meet other students, whether they're first-year students or second-year students. These relationships are invaluable. So many of our students from Fashion Institute of Technology have actually gotten their internships or first jobs or later jobs in their career because they've been connected to FIT grads and students. As the chairperson, I must say that this is not a job that I can do solely, right? I believe in teamwork, and we have amazing professors here in this program who, again, they have experience in the industry. They know the landscape here in Korea. So one of our professors has actually secured and helped students get tickets for Seoul Fashion Week, where students have not only attended but worked backstage. Other professors have been able to leverage their connections to attend factory visits or organize field trips. So in the fall of last semester, students went on a field trip to Tokyo and were able to see firsthand what's happening in the fashion industry.